Good morning, guys. It's Friday, miserable Friday. I'm looking out my window. Autumn's well and truly here, hey. Jam-packed week. I'm going to try and get through these videos in less than 3 minutes because, I think that's a good amount of time for a little vlog. So, been a really busy week again this week. A few points I wanted to talk to you about. One of the big things for us this week was starting to implement our comms and engagement plan for everything. I think this is something that all planning areas should have really. There's so much complexity, so many things going on, so many moving parts that it's so critical that everybody knows what's going on. So we've put together a plan that thinks about the engagement we need to do with all of our residents, all of our members, all of our own colleagues, internal and external, other departments, other stakeholders, and really trying to put that into a timeline so we can get coherent messaging, because a lot of the problems I think that we tend to have are because through miscommunication or lack of communication. So it's a really important thing. I'm glad to see we've got up and running. We'll be reiterating it and really trying to improve on that. Worked really hard in our policy team to do that through the local plan and some of the area action plan work. So now we're going to kind of spin that across the service. So that's really exciting. Had a good meet up with a colleague who works in transformation this week, John, who I've met with a couple of years ago. We talked about transformation then, and we had a really interesting conversation around kind of transformation and accelerated change in the light of COVID with home working. We're really obviously going to be really embedded in this now. No one was particularly sure, I think, from a local government perspective, whether we would be going back full time, but certainly for the very, very foreseeable future, I don't think that many of us are going to be heading back into the office. So we really need to just think from scratch, really, I think, and not try and refit an analog working environment into a sort of remote digital world. Gives lots of opportunities, lots of challenges, but lots of opportunities too. Really great discussion this week. I mean, I'm not going to go on too much about the planning white paper. We've all seen it probably by now. We're all doing our own responses on it, which is due at the end of the month. But I went to virtually went to the Urban Design London webinar, which was great because we had MHCLG colleagues there as well. It was a great session. I mean, I think it was really important. There's about 200 people there. We all know that this white paper and planning reform is a work in progress. It's turning the planning juggernaut. So it will be a task for everybody collectively to be involved in. But, despite the gaps, and we all know there's gaps in the document, and which will need significant attention, there are some positive themes in there, no doubt about it. There's themes around climate change as a critical issue, digital. I mean, that has to be something now we're working towards in the 21st century. Design and the community's engagement stuff is really important. So there's some really good hooks for that. And it's really good. We had some MHCLG colleagues there, and Yvonne Bradsky and Ewan Mills, and other colleagues as well. And it really feels like there's a lot of two-way dialogue where they're doing a lot of listening. They understand this, and there's some, they're really good heads in that space. So I'm really kind of stoked by that, to use a slightly Australian word. That it really feels like a two-way dialogue from the conversations I've been having already. Obviously big mention to Ewan, because I know him quite well, Ewan Mills. It's great to see him at MHCLG now, really in the thick of it. So wherever he is, there'll be some energy, so that's really great. Just peripherally, two little things to finish off on. Big shout to getting the Donut Economics Action Lab up and running. Not us, that's nothing to do with us, that's Kate Raworth. I'm sure that some of you have been involved in that and seen what's happening with that. I mean, it's a really interesting model, and the Action Lab is a platform. I signed up to it this week. Have a look at it. It's great. It's going to be where lots of professionals working in the economy can do some sharing of best practice and new ways of thinking in terms of circularity. I'll put the links to all of this stuff in the document. I'm sorry, this is well over 3 minutes, but there's a lot to talk about this week. And just one big shout to my colleagues at Solace, that's the Society of Local Government Chief Execs and Senior Managers. President Martin Swales stepped down and from his role as a Chief Exec. Really sorry to see him go. He was a fantastic mentor for me in the last couple of years. When I've sat on the board, so really sad to see him go. Solace do some fantastic work, and I'm going to give them an unashamed plug for their week coming up now, which is on it's a week's long learning session essentially. So I'll put the link up to that in the document too. So I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and enjoy the rain, and I'll see you next week.